Welcome back, warrior. We are reading Esther, the only book in the entire Bible that is dedicated to a female. Don't we love her? Okay. So Esther was a Jew who was born during the time of the Jewish captivity. Cyrus the Great, king of Persia, conquered Babylon and took control of um, its captives, including the Jews. Afterward, many Jews lived throughout Persia, the Persian Empire. Cyrus was the one who allowed willing Jews to return to Jerusalem and begin rebuilding the temple. So we remember that. Um, Esther was born sometime after the reign of Cyrus the Great. Her cousin Mordecai, who raised Esther after the death of her parents, worked. Oh, excuse me. Worked in the Persian palace during the reign of King Ahasuerus, also known as King Xerxes the First. Okay, Xerxes. This is true. My husband said something about that, and I was like, that's not how you say Ahasuerus. So King Xerxes. That's cool because that is more, that feels more like legit. So for context, it was under the next Persian king, King Artaxerxes the first, that Nehemiah later received permission to return to Jerusalem and rebuild its walls. Okay, so you remember that from when we were reading Nehemiah, Ezra and Nehemiah. And then in Esther's day, the temple in Jerusalem had already been rebuilt, but the city walls were still largely in ruins. Okay, so that's the time period that we're working with. So before the king Artaxerxes the first, and there was, I guess, King Xerxes or King Ahasuerus. Okay, so here we go. And okay, really quick before we get into Esther chapter 1, some more commentary. We want to dedicate some time to this, to these scriptures in Esther, the book of Esther, because she is so courageous, so awesome, and I love that we are focusing one whole book on her and her courage and who she is. So anyway, so King Ahasuerus inherited the throne after his father Darius the Great, and he inherited a vast kingdom, one like the world had not yet seen. So if you were to visit the Louvre in Paris, France, be sure to visit the Persian collection where you will see remains of Darius's palace. Oh, that's cool. We did not do that when we were there. When Darius became king, he made Susa, also called Shushan, the capital. Remains of this palace are in the Persian collection at the Louvre. It was this palace that the story of Esther took place. It was in this palace. Oh, that's sad we didn't get to go there. Esther's record begins with the story of why they sought a new queen. King Ahasuerus was married to Queen Vashti, and royal feasts were made. The writer helps us see that during the feast, the king would show the riches of the glorious kingdom in honor of his excellent majesty. The feasts were glorious, and there was a lot of drinking. Okay, so here we go. We will read this. Ahasuerus of Persia and Media makes royal feasts. Vashti disobeys the king and is disposed as queen. Okay, so now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia over 107 provinces. Wow. And remember, he's Xerxes, King Xerxes the first. That in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom in the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. Wow, that's a long time for a party. And then these days were expired. The king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan, the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen, and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver upon the pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. And they gave them drink in the vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, the royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law, none did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also Vashti, the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to the king Ahasuerus. Oh, nice. Vashti, good job hosting a party for the women. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned him. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshana, Shethar, Admath, Tarshish, Marsena, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. Yeah. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported to King Ahasuerus, commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. Good, yeah, because she's standing up for herself. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the Jews, among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. That's harsh. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. For obviously these guys know nothing about being married. Okay, for he sent letters unto the Memucan is not a wise person, because that's not how you treat a lady, you know? Anyway, king should have known that's not how you treat a lady too. Excuse me. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. Okay, so this is where alpha male and the men, like what do I want to call this? It's where like these guys were putting men above women, and like as if we're supposed to be like slaves to the men, right? Like, and like you're drunk and you're bringing all your people to come get me because you want to look at me. Okay, Queen Vashti is like being a good example, actually, I think. So let's see. We're going to read some commentary. So, during the feast, King Ahasuerus wished to show off his wife's beauty. The context of the scriptures helps us see that the king was drunk with wine and influenced by pride as he displayed the wealth and glory of his kingdom, right? So we might assume that under other circumstances, he might not have made such a request. Vashti, on the other hand, refused to obey his command. It is likely that she would have fully understood the possible consequences of refusing a king's command. The ancient Jewish scholar Josephus wrote about this event, and he suggests that Vashti refused multiple requests. So this was not just a single refusal, but something she was committed to. Also, though, like, that's not how you treat a woman, you know? Come, I want to look at you. Like, we are not objects, you know? And that is probably what she was feeling. Like, she didn't want to be treated like an object. She wanted to be treated with respect. Yeah, so Josephus, he says this: now the king was desirous to show her who exceeded all other women in beauty to those that feasted with him, and he sent some to command her to come to his feast. But she, out of regard to the laws of the Persians, which forbid the wives to be seen by strangers, did not go to the king. And though he oftentimes sent the eunuchs to her, she did nevertheless stay away and refused to come till the king was so much irritated that he brake up the entertainment and rose up and called for 7 who had the interpretation of the laws committed to them, and accused his wife and said that he had been affronted by her because that when she was frequently called by him to his feast, she did not obey him once. But look at this. She, out of regard to the laws of the Persians, which forbid the wives to be seen by strangers, like that was not a thing that you were supposed to do. So what impresses you about Queen Vashti? Anyways, unfortunately, the entire event was very public, leaving the king disobeyed and angered before all who witnessed his command to have her come, as well as whoever saw her refusal to come. So the king then asked the wise men, what shall we do, right? And then the wise men suggested that her behavior should be set as a bad example for other women who would then also try and disobey their husbands, right? So Vashti is to be replaced. The advice from the wise men to remove Vashti as queen and replace her with another during the heat of the moment. The saying pleased the king, but it appears that he would regret it later. Yeah, because that's what happens. Without knowing much about Queen Vashti, what do you know about her from this story now? And what are some Queen Vashti moments you might find yourself in? Probably more than we can count. Okay. That is it for chapter 1 of Esther until chapter 2. Oh, I'm missing my treadmill. Stay strong, warrior. My treadmill keeps me awake.